What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Here's the Deal podcast. We are on episode 14. Is this 14?
Episode 15. Shout out Vince Carter. Half man, half the lady.
15. Shout out VC. Episode 15. Here we are. I'm your host, Michael White, with my friend David as usual. Say what's up, David.
What's good, y'all? Episode 15. Gotta show Toronto some love, first time in the finals. So we're gonna show them some love this episode. Episode 15, we dedicated to you.
Yeah, we definitely gonna show him some love, man. It's good to be back. We did a couple guest spots this week. Shout out to KB Snipes on the Sports State of Mind podcast. Me and David had a great time. David, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, man, it was really good. Talking to somebody overseas, that was definitely a different feel, but it seemed like we had a clicking chemistry just off, not even really meeting each other, but it definitely was a good talk with him.
Yeah, it was definitely a good vibe. Again, that's the Sports State of Mind podcast with Snipes KB. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram. You can find him at Sports State of Mind. But we're going to hop into today's episode of Here's the Deal. Man, let's get talking about the Raptors and the Bucks, man. So, as I'm sure everybody knows by now, the Bucks, the number one seed, the only 60-win plus team this year, fell to Toronto Raptors in 6 games. They lost 4 in a row. David, what did you think about how that series ended? Were you shocked by how it ended? What are your total impressions of it?
I was definitely shocked by the way it ended because the Bucks starting off 2-0. I wasn't definitely not expecting the Raptors to win 4 straight games. Like, that caught me all the way off guard, but they pulled it off. Nick Nurse made some really good adjustments. The Bucks, they got a lot of work to do. They definitely need a closer going forward, but it was definitely a surprise the way it ended. I wasn't expecting them to win 4 straight. I wasn't expecting Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, all of them to play as good as they did, but they definitely showed up.
Yeah, I agree. Like I had been saying all playoffs, like, where has the bench been in these last 4 games? First off, what a way to go out. Losing 4 straight games. I know we're going to talk a lot about what the Raptors did right, but what in the world? The Bucks, you are the number one seed. You possibly have the MVP of the league, and you lose 4 straight games in a do or die. That's unacceptable. I didn't think it would go down like that either. I didn't think the Raptors would win 4 in a row, but like I was saying, the bench came in and played extremely well. Norman Powell, after Fred VanVleet had his son, congratulations by the way, man, he couldn't miss a shot from 3 after he was struggling. Yeah, he was cash money after that, yo. It was like, I'm good. My son's here. I'm straight. That's it. That's all you heard every time he got the ball. So, like, I was really, really happy to see the Raptors bench show up like I thought they could. Shout out Serge Ibaka played well. Their entire bench just really played well and really propelled them to the end. But focusing more on the Bucks side of things before we talk about the Raptors, where do they go from here? This upcoming offseason, Chris Middleton could be a free agent. Malcolm Brogdon could be a free agent. Brooke Lopez was only on a 1-year deal. Where do you go from here if you're the Bucks, if you're trying to continue to be a contender?
Yeah, you got all those things. You got to bring – I feel like you got to figure out whether or not you're going to bring in Middleton. I'd go after some better free agents. I think their number one priority is to get a closer, somebody at the guard position, whether it be a Kyrie Irving, Kemba Walker. Just try and get Giannis Antetokounmpo, that guard that can close out games for him, because he proved throughout this series that he's not a go-to guy in the fourth quarter if it's a close game. So you definitely need somebody to take some of that pressure off of him late in games. Giving Eric Bledsoe that deal in the middle of the year, it's looking like that's going to backfire, because he kind of showed why he's not worth all that money, and he was only playing in that series mostly for defensive purposes. And having Giannis out there, you need a point guard that can space the floor, and Eric Bledsoe wasn't doing that all series. So you definitely need to go out there and find a closer for them. Bring back Middleton if there's no other options. Maybe he possibly would take a pay cut. I doubt it, but if he's willing to do that, you definitely got to let go of George Hill. He's on a team option. I think he's $17 million if they take it, but they're going to decline that. Maybe you could restructure that. And you definitely want to bring back George Hill because he played great for the team. But You gotta bring back the shooters for him, because without shooters, Giannis is really gonna have a hard time getting to the basket, and it's gonna look a lot the way we just saw in this playoffs, where he's gonna play on the wall all the time. He's gonna be kicking out to non-shooters, and that would be ugly real quick. So continue to bring back shooters for him and just get him a closer point guard. That'd be my biggest concern going into this offseason for them.
Yeah, for me, just looking at the Bucks, it's tough because I don't know. Are you going to be able to afford? Middleton is looking for probably a big deal. This might be one of his biggest deals he gets in his career. So, are you going to be able to afford him and pay Brogdon? Because while Brogdon may not get a max deal, he's going to get a sizable amount of money from somebody to come.
He's going to get paid.
He's one of their best players, if you ask me. So it's going to be really tough, but I think they need to go. I think Giannis needs to go in this offseason. I think he's been to the Eastern Conference Final now, right?
Yeah.
He made it to the next step. Now he's really got to work on that mid-range game, man, or something.
Right. Yeah.
Something in the middle of that lane, a floater, a little hook shot, a little Kareem hook shot, something. He needs something in that middle, because if he can't get to the basket, then he's not really much of a threat. I mean, yes, if you leave him wide open, he's going to make some threes, but he's not hitting them at a high enough clip where you're really worried about him shooting out there. His goal is to get to the basket, but as we see, teams are going to look at what the Raptors did. Now, everybody doesn't have a Kawhi Leonard to spearhead your defense, but teams are going to look at how the Raptors just packed the zone against him and just lived and die with 3-pointers. They played the percentages. So it's going to be tough for the Bucks to come back. I'm really interested to see what Mike Budenholzer, does to adjust to losing to the Raptors the way they did.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You brought up a great point. Giannis Antetokounmpo has to work on his mid-range game. It all comes back to the mid-range game, man, because he's able to get to the rim. He's able to shoot threes. Actually at a good enough clip. He was hitting them, I want to say, like about 33%. That's higher than what you expect for him. So he's hitting them at a good enough rate. It's just he has to come up with a mid-range game, because if he's playing in the only three and getting within 6 feet of the basket, it's pretty easy to stop him because he doesn't have the best moves around the basket. So it all comes back to getting that mid-range game to me, man. And he also has to work on his free throws. If he's going to get to the line like that,
I forgot to say that.
I think he shot 5 for 10 in that closeout game. It's just, I need you more in that 8 for 10 range at least be in that, because he's going to get to the free throw line. He knows that. So definitely putting a lot of work, just shooting the ball all off season, man. 15 feet, just all off season. 15 feet, and work on getting better moves if I'm Giannis. And you also brought up a great point with Brogdon, because he's going to get paid, I think. Somebody may actually give him a pretty hefty contract. I'm not sure. Pretty sure the Bucks have the rights for. He's probably a restricted free agent, I assume. But they're definitely going to be put in a tough position on either bringing him back or going after Middleton or somebody else. So it's interesting for the Bucks, but I think they'll be okay. It seems like they got a pretty good front office. They definitely have to prove something to Giannis going into this next year, or else he may end up walking. Even though he seems pretty loyal, but he's going to want to win a championship. He has that drive. He's going to want to win.
Yeah, I think there was a stat I believe Skip Bayless put out, like in the fourth quarters of all these games, Giannis was shooting like somewhere in the 40% from the free throw. He was like, that's Lonzo Ball range. I was like, oh my God, Giannis, you can't be in that range in the playoffs. In the Eastern Conference Finals, no. You cannot be a liability at the line if you are a MVP candidate. You just can't. That's just what it boils down to simply. But we're going to see what the Bucks do this offseason. Of course, they have Giannis, so they're going to win a bunch of regular season games. Mm-hmm. So I expect them to be right there in the East. Let's just see what they do to help themselves get over the hump and maybe make the NBA Finals next year.
Yeah, definitely looking good for them going forward. I think they'll be all right. They got a good coach. They got a good front office. They'll be all right. But what I wanted to talk about today was Kawhi-Kobe-Jordan, man. Kawhi-Kobe-Jordan. I think he's the best player in the league. That's what I'm getting from him. Throughout this whole playoffs, he's been impressing me, man. He's been playing at an extremely high level. He carried the team for the most part, although that the Raptors in this last series, Kyle Lowry played great. He got some help from the supporting cast, but whenever they needed him, they were down by 10. He brought them back, brought it within a close game. Whenever they needed him to do something special, he went out there and did something special. So It's looking. I think he's the best player right now, man. Do you agree or disagree?
You think he's the best player in the
In the
playoffs?
world, and like he's the best player in the NBA.
And
Playoffs, regular season, best player.
is he the best player? So I'm a big Kawhi fan. Kawhi-Kobe-Jordan. Um, I just don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. I don't think he's better than Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is such a cerebral scorer from anywhere. Like Kawhi has his spots. Like he has his spots in the mid range that he likes to get to, and he's very good offensively. And don't get me wrong, I think he's heads and shoulders above KD when it comes to defense. But offensively, the fact that KD can get the ball and can score from anywhere on the court.
That's true.
Anywhere. Like his array of move, and he's unstoppable. You just have to hope he's off.
Kawhi is just as unstoppable to me, man. If you give him the rock, he can score from anywhere. There's not a weak spot in Kawhi's game that I see, other than maybe his playmaking. But even that, I see if we're talking between him and Kevin Durant, they're about equal on playmaking.
His playmaking has definitely improved. Shout out Kawhi, because they were talking about him not being able to playmaker. What does he do? He goes out, gets a career high in assists and 9. They talked about his rebounding in the last game 6. What does he do? Goes out and grabs 17 rebounds. So he's definitely improving right in front of our eyes. But offensively, are you going to say he's more unstoppable than Kevin Durant?
He's not a better scorer than Kevin Durant, but
well, there it is. That's it.
He's not a better scorer than Kevin Durant. I say that, but it's not a huge gap. If you ask me, it's not a huge gap. It's like
with that.
He's 5 inches taller, which is a big difference. But at the end of the day, I think Kawhi has a better handle than KD. I think he has a better post game, I would say. They may be equal in that part. I give me Kawhi's post game.
I can't give him the post game.
You don't think Kawhi has a better post game? Because if I think about it, if I put him in the post, and I have Kawhi, I can depend on him to go to the basket and do what he need to do. If KD goes to the basket, sometimes he has a tendency to get mad at the rim by a center, and he'll miss a couple of those layups. Kawhi, he's going up there strong every time. I think that's just a difference in, their bodies, one stronger than the other, and I definitely give Kawhi the advantage in that. And I don't think it's a huge gap between that. So the biggest difference to me, there's a big difference between their offense and defense. I mean, their defense side of the ball. Kawhi is miles ahead of KD on the defensive side of the ball. So that difference in offense, I don't think is bigger than that difference in defense. And that's 50% of the game right there.
I agree with that. I don't think he's miles ahead of. I think KD's been playing a lot better defense since he's been in Golden State. He showed he can be a force on that side. But you're right. Kawhi is definitely the best perimeter defender in the league. I had him as my honorable mention for in our top 5 defenders of all time. But it just comes down to, okay, you're doing a fantasy draft. You're on 2K. You're on a fantasy draft.
Mm-hmm.
You got Kawhi and KD right there. It's tough. I wouldn't be mad at you for picking Kawhi, but I think I'm taking KD off rip. Just simply because KD is the ultimate. He's like the ultimate insurance policy. No matter what happens to you, he got it. No matter what, you can put whatever you want on the team. It doesn't matter. His production is guaranteed. And look, Kawhi changes teams too, and that's why it's tough. It's tough for me putting him over there. But I just don't know if I consider him the best. And some people would still consider LeBron the best. I mean, that's an argument to be had.
Yeah, he deserves to be in the conversation. He still had a great year despite not making the playoffs. But as far as between Kawhi and KD, I'm sorry. I see it as that's last Spurs team that he was playing on before he got hurt. That wasn't the most talented team, but he still willed them to the Western Conference Finals, beating the Rockets in their semifinals. So he beat a good team to get there, and it looked like he was at least going to win one game against the Warriors, if not, have a competitive series, which I think they would have. But if I put KD in that situation, I'm not sure if I get that same result. And KD is it's difficult, man, because to a certain degree, you respect his talent so high, but I'm not sure if he could carry a team to like the Western Conference Finals and to the finals and things the way that I've seen Kawhi do it these last few years after the whole injury thing. So if it's a fantasy draft, give me Kawhi just simply off the fact that he's 27 years old. He's going to run the league for another 6-7 years. So off the age alone, I definitely take Kawhi. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be healthy. Hey, he may have to sit out 25 games in the regular season, but hey, we're going to get to the playoffs, and we're going to do what he's doing right now.
Right. No. Like I said, I wouldn't have a problem with someone picking Kawhi. It's just hard for me to just say, okay, he's the best player in the league right now. Like, I can't. No one was saying this all season long, and, I don't want to get caught up in the moment. He's amazing. He's great. He's top 3, definitely. However you want to interchange it. Am I willing to give him that title, though, best player in the world? Probably not. He might be the best player in the playoffs right now because KD hurt. You know what I mean?
No. He was playing better than KD before he got hurt.
That's arguable.
To me.
That's very arguable.
To me.
And when KD was playing, they were playing better competition than what the Raptors are playing. If we want to be honest.
Sixers?
No, I'm talking about in the first round against the Clippers.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely better than the Magic.
You're right.
Yeah, I was talking about the round where KD was actually playing, and then he got hurt. I mean, yeah, we count the 2 Rocket games, but...
I mean, yeah, there's kind of even competition, 76.
Yeah, so it's comparable. It's just, man. All right, now look, if the Raptors go in here and win the finals...
Yeah, we got to see how the finals shake out.
Then I'll have nothing to say. Then it'll be clear cut. Oh, no, he's the best player in the league. It's clear cut. But let me see how he does in the finals. He's on a different team. He's not in the safety of, it's kind of a safety net being with the Spurs. It's, you got Greg Pop there. Mm-hmm. This is a totally different situation. New players, first year head coach, first NBA finals versus the Warriors, who've been 5 straight times. Let's see how he does in the finals on this one.
All right, we'll revisit it after the finals for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely go back.
All right, but I wanted to touch on my Rockets, man. So, Woj came out with a report today saying that Daryl Morey was willing to trade anyone on the team. Probably not James Harden due to contract. It probably won't match up, but anybody on the team is fair game if the right package presents itself in order to improve the Rockets roster going into next year. So I love to hear it as a Rockets fan. I think this is exactly what we want. We want him to not hold any emotions when he's doing this. This is the Daryl Morey that I love to see. Just go out there, do what's best for the team. I'm not worried about Chris Paul's feelings. He's going to get paid wherever he goes, so he doesn't have to worry about that. I think it's great to hear. I hope he finds a trade going forward, either with Clint Capella, Eric Gordon, these 4 first-round picks that they were trying to do earlier in this year. Some type of package where we can get somebody else to help James Harden. Or, damn it, if we trade James Harden, I don't think that's the best move for us. But if we were to ever trade James Harden, if we could get somebody of equal value, which that's why I don't think we'll ever trade him. But if it improves our team, that's what I want to hear. So I love to hear that from my GM, Daryl Morey. I think it's great. It's great. What do you think?
Well, first off, you don't trade James Harden. Period. Point.
I agree.
You're not trading James Harden because, just like you said, you're not getting equal value back. You're not. There's no. I actually heard of a crazy rumor that someone was considering they could trade James Harden for LeBron James.
No, if you're the Rockets, no.
I actually heard that today. No lie, but yeah, you're not trading James Harden. He's at a great age. He's in his prime. He plays 82 games, close to that a season. He's always available. Yes, he has his playoff woes, and some people call him, a choke artist or whatever you may want to call him. But the fact of the matter is, he balls. He's a top 2 guard in the league, if not the best guard in the league. So you don't trade him. Now, as far as everybody else, I mean, I'm not surprised. This is what I expect from Daryl Morey. He's aggressive, and he's always trying to make his team better. And if Chris Paul came in, we got close one year, then he got hurt. The next year, fell off. We just couldn't get it together. It didn't work. Let's try to make something else happen. Let's try to move that contract. I have no problem with that at all because if you try to just go into free agency, you guys are cap strapped. You can't do anything. You might be able to sign a vet here or there for some minimums, but nothing that's going to help get you over the hump. So No, this is exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, hey, if you reach a wall, you got to revamp, retool, and go at it again. And Daryl Morey is notorious for doing that. So, no, this is a smart move for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We got to move somebody. I think Clint Capella is an underrated asset that we have. He's on a pretty good contract. He plays great against everybody but the Warriors, which, I mean, hopefully in due time he continues to get better. He played a couple of good games in the series this year. Last year he played really great in the series. I'm not sure what happened this year, but
do you think that's because the offense just wasn't the same though?
The offense was different. Go ahead.
I just feel like he didn't get he got opportunities, but I don't feel like he was given the easy opportunities he was given last year. The way your offense was run, and that was building his confidence up. I didn't see that this year. This Rockets team played different this year because of all the injuries. Mostly they switched to just mainly a James Harden ISO style.
Just give it to James.
Yeah,
just give it to James. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, just giving it to James, and I think that's part of the reason they got hurt in the playoffs as well. Because as soon as KD went down, now all of a sudden you have to chase Steph, you have to chase Harden. You have to chase Klay Thompson around. That looks like Harden was out of gas, and he was trying to ISO while trying to play defense like that. Do you think that's maybe part of the reason why Capella looked pretty much, unusable, unplayable?
Yeah, it didn't look like himself. I think he was battling I forget what it was, but he definitely battling some type of sickness or something going into the game. I can't remember exactly what it was. So throughout that series, he was definitely hindered in some type of way, health-wise. So that definitely played a factor. And then also exactly what you just said, the offense was run differently. He wasn't able to get those same pick and roll lobs or just pick and roll passes that he's used to getting. Chris Paul wasn't the same point guard he was in previous years. So it's definitely a different feel for him. He's kind of just playing under the basket and wait for him to dump it off to him and hopefully he can get a dunk or something like that. So it's definitely different for him being a player that has to play off of James Harden and Chris Paul. And when they're not creating for him the way he's used to, it's definitely hard to adjust his game like that. So it definitely plays a factor to me. But that's why I think he's such a great asset, because I think he can still be very productive. I don't think that series defines the player he is. So, and he's only getting better, if you ask me. He's definitely going to fill out his frame a lot more these next few years. I believe he's only 24 years old, so he still has a lot of time to become a better player, maybe get a hook shot or so, maybe make a couple more free throws, things like that. So I think he may be the best asset we have in a trade. That's what I'm trying to get at. He's probably the best asset Daryl Morey will have in improving the roster.
So I'll ask you this. You're in Daryl Morey's shoes. What's the trade? What are you looking at right now? What are you trying? Who are you trying to move, and possibly for who? I'm putting you on the spot.
All right, I'm moving. Give me Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, and a first round pick for Bradley Beal, and give us the first round pick y'all got this year.
Oh no! You wish that.
That could happen. It probably won't because John Wall won't play this year. But if they're trying to get off Bradley Beal, maybe not the whole first round pick swap, but
Eric Gordon and Clint Capella.
You don't think they would do that? If they're trying to get off Bradley Beal, because they're in no man's land right now. Eric Gordon, his contract be up at the year. That clears some cap.
I would say
Clint Capella.
I think they could get a better deal.
Okay,
that's what I would say to that.
Okay, I mean that's a target. It's hard for me. I'd have to go on Trade Finder right now and see what deals will work. But Bradley Beal is a trade target I like. Who else? Jimmy Butler. He probably wouldn't be a trade target unless maybe a sign and trade. I think that's our best way of getting Jimmy Butler. But those would be two of the players I'm definitely keeping my eye on coming into this summer and definitely throughout the season. Maybe we could trade for one of those players.
Quick side note on Jimmy Butler. I think he's going to the Lakers. I'm almost pretty certain that's gonna. I feel like we're not getting in the top tiers, and they've already released the news that he would sign a max immediately if they offered it. I feel like that.
Okay,
feel like that's a realistic move for us. Totally random, but I just wanted to drop that.
As a Laker fan, right quick, do you want to give Jimmy Butler the max?
As a Laker fan, if I'm not getting Kawhi Leonard, I'm not getting Kevin Durant, and I know this. I Jimmy Butler definitely fits a need, and that's our two guard position. Caldwell Pope, I'm not feeling that. He needs to go. Jimmy Butler would give us experience. He would give us defense. Shit, him and Lonzo could be one of the best defensive backcourts in the league, for real. If we put him at the two guard position.
For sure.
Yeah, so as a Laker fan, if that's our best move, then I'm all for it because point blank, LeBron needs players. And he needs players that are ready. And Jimmy Butler, in his short time at Philly, showed in the playoff he is a playoff player. He is a playoff performer. And he plays hard and he hits big shots. So I wouldn't be upset at that, even though obviously I would like us to aim higher. But the Jimmy Butler signing, I wouldn't be too mad at that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's a closer that y'all could definitely use for sure. All right, so they came out with the All NBA teams throughout the week. Our first team, we end up getting Steph Curry as our point guard, James Harden filling out the other guard spot, Paul George, Giannis, and Jokic. Do you have any problems with that first team that came out? Anything that you would change around?
Not necessarily any problems. I had Embiid on my first team, but Jokic had an amazing season as well, and I think didn't he play more games? I'm pretty sure he played more games.
More than Embiid.
And I'm pretty sure the Nuggets had the better record. So hey, that's okay. But other than that, I have no issues with the first team. How about you?
I thought I put more thought into it. I think I'd want to put Kevin Durant in place of Jokic. He played 78 games throughout the year, so health wasn't an issue. Steph missed a couple games here and there. I believe Draymond missed some games. Clay missed some games, but KD played. He only missed 4 games. So I definitely think I would replace Jokic with Kevin Durant in that team.
Wait, they got but I thought you had to have a center.
You talking about a center in there? Nah, because all NBA they do it the way you have 3 forwards. It's 2 guards and 3 forwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at least that's the way they've done it the last 2 or 3 years. So the way you could do it, that's why I'm throwing Kevin Durant in there. I think I want to throw KD in place of Jokic and have Paul George, Giannis, and Kevin Durant first team as my forwards. Just me personally. Jokic, I don't really have an issue with because he had a great year. The Nuggets were the 2nd seed, but I think I want to put Kevin Durant in there. That'd be my only rebuttal.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for the second team, they ended up coming out with Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and Joel Embiid. Any issues with that one?
So now that I'm looking back and thinking about it, I have a small problem with Kyrie on the second team. I have a small problem with that. I talk about Russell Westbrook a lot, but he averaged a triple-double still this year. Yeah, he is the epitome of a total point guard in terms of stats-wise. So I think Russell Westbrook should have deserved a nod there. Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is a guy. I'm sure everybody's heard the news. You know, he was kind of a little butthurt that he didn't make it. He said he wasn't. He said he wasn't, but you could hear it all in his voice. He was salty. I definitely think Klay Thompson deserves a spot on the All-NBA team, and I think second wouldn't have been too far-fetched for what he does for that Warriors team that goes unnoticed. Still guards the best player on the opposite team while giving you plus 22 points while shooting over 40% from 3. You know, that's impressive stuff, man.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson's one of those overlooked guards. Go ahead.
He's definitely underappreciated. You put him in the second team, though? So you'd move Russell Westbrook in there and Klay Thompson in the second team?
And it was Kyrie Irving and who else?
Damian Lillard.
Dame had a good year.
Yeah. Blazers 3rd seed in the West.
It's tough, man. It's tough just because there's so many good guards in the league. It's like you're gonna snub somebody. Like
somebody's gonna get left off.
It's just.
I mean, I'm not mad.
Go ahead.
I'm not mad at what you said at all. Russell Westbrook and Klay Thompson. I mean, I don't think I put Klay second team. I definitely believe he deserves to be third team, but I'm not mad at replacing Kyrie for Russ because Russ is clearly the leader of their team. Kyrie, he had a great individual year, but his team kind of underperformed. Even though OKC did drop down at the end of the year. But player for player, yeah, I'd probably take Russell Westbrook, although Kyrie did have a phenomenal year. The forwards, I'm not mad at all. I think they did great on the second team. Kawhi could have been first team, just had to play more games, but he's not worried about that. He's trying to win a ring.
Yeah, he ain't worried about accolades at this point.
All right, so let me call out the third team. Then tell me who else you'd have on your third team since you got Russ and Clay in your second team. So the third team that they came out with is Russell Westbrook, Kemba Walker, LeBron James, Blake Griffin, and Rudy Gobert. So who would you rather have at your guard positions now? You took out Dame, you took out Kyrie. You moving them to the third team?
I would move Dame to third team, and shoot, man, I might get Bradley Beal
over Kyrie and Kemba.
Bradley Beal averaged 25 points a game for the Wizards this year, while shooting like 40% from three as well. Hey, go check the stats. Bradley Beal low-key had a very good season for the Wizards, especially with John Wall being out and Dwight Howard being out. 25 points a game, a career high. Yeah. I mean, Bradley Beal, he got some votes for a reason now.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think I had Bradley Beal on my third team when we had our predictions, but putting him over Kyrie and Kemba, I don't know. Maybe over Kemba, I can agree with that, but over Kyrie.
But then again, like I said, man, it's like
you gotta leave somebody.
Do you like cake or do you like ice cream? I mean, all these people, all these guards are good, so it's like someone. No matter what team you put together, someone's getting snubbed. Someone's getting left off.
Yeah, I definitely agree. My only problem with the third team that they had was I would have threw in Clay for Kemba. I believe he definitely he's more important to his team. Maybe not more important to his team, being that Kemba, carrying his team. But
right.
I think he plays a vital role for the Warriors. He's the one chasing everybody out there on defense while Steph gets to, somewhat relax out there, just kind of chill out there. So Clay's definitely underappreciated. I think it would have made for a lot of drama if he would have gotten an All-NBA team, because then he could argue for that max contract right now. I mean, he's gonna get a max, but not the super max, but you know what I'm talking about. The max, the All-NBA max, he would be able to ask, I believe, 221 instead of 191 would be the difference. So that extra $30 million, I think it would have made a difference for the Warriors. Maybe they mess around, offer him 200 instead of the 219. 219 or something like that, whatever it is. I think it would have made for a good little theatrics in the off season. So I would have liked to have seen that just as an NBA fan. Maybe the whole Warriors thing gets broken off of, front offices. That's the way it usually ends with dynasties. It's usually the front office breaks them up, and usually money is the issue. So I would have liked to have seen that. And I also would have replaced Rudy Gobert with Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, that was another close one too. And then some of my other friends tell me that Anthony Davis should have been on there.
Nah.
I mean, LeBron made it, and they played about the same amount of games, so it can't be a games type of thing,
Anthony Davis stopped playing before the All-Star break,
but he only played like 2 less games than LeBron, and LeBron was on there.
That's crazy. I mean, I tried to keep LeBron off my list, but he was too great. I had to at least put him third team.
27, 8, and 8. No, you can't teach that. He wake up 27, 8, and 8.
Yeah, Cat started balling out near the end of the year to me. So, I mean, hopefully that wasn't just for his contract, because he could have made some more money as well. So, hopefully he keeps that up going into next year. Just keeps continuing to get better. So, hopefully he gets better. Hopefully he doesn't get too upset about not making an All-NBA team and drives him going forward. But let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, man. What we got?
Next up, we have, are the playoffs better without the man you were just trying to leave off your All-NBA team? LeBron James. I'm gonna let you start with that since you was trying to leave him off. So were you entertained? Did you enjoy the playoffs without LeBron so far?
I've had a lot of great moments with the playoffs and a lot of dull moments. Going series by series, first round in the East was pretty simple. We kind of knew what was going to happen. There wasn't a lot of drama other than the 76ers Nets series. That was entertaining to see. So I enjoyed that, but there was no drama in that. The second round of the East, it was highly entertaining to watch. Milwaukee lost game 1, ended up winning the rest of that series, but the whole Celtics drama is always fun to watch. And then Kawhi Leonard versus the 76ers.
Right.
Kawhi is really just Kawhi in that series. So it was very entertaining to watch that. And then rounding out the rest of the East, it was entertaining to watch that as well. LeBron not being in the East, it changed a lot of things. It gave everybody else, I guess that confidence that it's free game. Anybody can come out this year. And like before, everybody was like, "Oh, we got LeBron here. He's going again." It's just that I guess the mental aspect of the game they had lost before they even stepped out on the court. So the East was definitely a lot more entertaining. I think for the West perspective, I would have loved to have seen the Lakers in the playoffs. I think they could have made some noise with a healthy team. And I mean, the only reason I don't think anything would have really changed is because if I'm taking LeBron for his word, he said he turned on playoff mode about, let's say, late February, and nothing changed after that. So his playoff mode, it doesn't look like that switch is there anymore. So I think I would have loved to have seen him play in the West. I would have loved whether they get bounced early or they would have made it to the Western Conference Finals. I think it would have been great to have seen them. But I think the playoffs have been great regardless. There's been a lot of competition. We've seen a lot of other players step up, a lot of other stars and role players step up and things like that. So I think it's been great without him. It would have been good to have him. And we're still hearing about him day by day anyway. So he's always going to stay in the news. He's always going to stay in the media. So it's almost like he never left other than on the court.
First off, you said bounce in the first round or the Western Conference Finals.
Hey.
We are the Lakers. We was going to make the Western Conference Finals. All right? Remember that. Don't disrespect my team again like that. That was highly disrespectful. I caught it. They might not. The guests might not have caught it. I caught it. Don't you ever disrespect. But overall, the playoffs, man, the East was just very competitive this year. I liked, especially that second round where you had the Bucks and the Celtics, the stars over here. You got Kyrie, you got up-and-comers like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, first-time All-Star. The playoffs were they were great, man. I love the Eastern Conference matchup. The Raptors versus Philly, like you said, Kawhi versus Philly, Embiid, Ben Simmons, Butler, Kawhi Leonard. Like the East, it just, man, LeBron left and like it just all of a sudden became more balanced, more open. All of a sudden, the Magic make the playoffs. It's like, what is going on? But I enjoyed the playoffs. I mean, according to the ratings, people are missing LeBron. But as a basketball fan, I'm enjoying the playoffs. The West went like we thought it would go.
Yeah.
The Rockets Warriors series was a little underwhelming for me. I thought the Rockets, I don't need to tell you about your team. I thought y'all could have just put up a better fight than that. But it is what it is. It ended up being what it was going to be, and the Warriors ran through. But hey. Once they lose KD next year, we can see kind of the same thing we saw in the East when LeBron left. We can kind of see maybe the team start balancing themselves out. You got the Warriors. They'll still be a title contender without KD. You got the Rockets, who Daryl Morey will find a way to keep them competitive. Then you have the Lakers with LeBron. So LeBron still gets his publicity. We still hear about him all the time, no matter what, even if he's doing nothing. He's LeBron James. He's the biggest player on the planet. So the playoffs, don't miss him. I enjoyed it.
I definitely agree with that. LeBron was great, man. LeBron, it's always good to have LeBron players. Whenever you can have any great players play, Anthony Davis, LeBron in there, any of the best players playing in the playoffs, maybe they could take their game to another level and things like that. So it's always great to have those great players. But it's time, man. It's time. What we've been waiting for all season.
Yes, it's time to talk about the NBA Finals.
Give them my preview.
Look, man, it's a long time coming. I predicted the Raptors would be facing the Warriors in December. And here we are. Right again. It just is what it is, man. I can see these things coming. But let's get into our Raptors and Warriors NBA final preview. So this is big. First off, this is big. The Raptors have never been to the finals before. This is their first appearance. They bring in Drake. They bring in Jurassic Park. And this is the first time the Warriors are going to start on the road in the finals. So if you guys didn't know, the Raptors have home court advantage. So things could get pretty interesting. And the first thing I want to look at is the matchups, because those are going to be so key. So what me and David are going to do is we're going to go through our matchups, how we think. Reminder, how we think they should match up out there on the court. And we're going to go right down the list from our matchups to the bench, X factors, final MVP, and predictions. So let's start with the matchups. David, how do you see these starting lineups matching up? What you got?
All right, for the Warriors side of the ball, if I'm Steve Kerr, I'm putting Klay Thompson on Lowry. I'm putting Steph on Danny Green, run through some screens, just stick with him, but save your energy for the offense. You're gonna need that with KD being out a couple games, maybe this whole series. So I'm definitely putting him on Danny Green. Danny Green has been playing that great. Hopefully he plays better going forward. He's a great player, and not a great player, but a very good role player in my eyes. So hopefully he does better. But I'm definitely throwing Iggy on Kawhi. He's the only Warriors player I think that really has a chance of guarding Kawhi. I think Draymond, he'll see a lot of different matchups with Draymond and Klay on him as well, but Iggy has to be the primary defender. He has to play a lot of minutes this series. So him coming off that little leg injury they had last series, I'm pretty sure he's healthy by now, but he's going to play a huge role in guarding Kawhi Leonard. He has to play great in this series. I'm going to throw Draymond on Siakam, and then whoever the center position is, I'm going to say Looney right now. He's going to have to hold his own against Gasol, which that could be very interesting being that he's a younger player, doesn't have a lot of weight to him, but Gasol, hey, big old vet. He looked like a big fox. I mean, not a fox, but a big bull out there, man. It's gonna be hard for Looney to keep him off the glass and things like that. So hopefully he doesn't get hit with too many vet moves down there. So if I'm the Warriors, that's the way I'm looking at. What do you think for the Warriors side of the ball? How you matching up if you Steve Kerr?
So if I'm Steve Kerr and I'm matching up with the Raptors, so Steph on Lowry, I'm fine with that. We can live and die with that because
sure?
Lowry's not. He'll look to score, but I think Steph will be okay. As a team defense, the Warriors are great, so you can live and die with Steph on Lowry. As far as Danny Green, okay, I'll leave Klay Thompson on him. He should be able to lock up Danny Green. That's no problem. Definitely Iggy on Kawhi, Draymond on Siakam, and Looney with Gasol. And like you said, it depends. If Gasol starts going off on Looney, just being the vet that he is, we might have to put Bogut in. Or we might have to go small and try to force Toronto to play small. Bad thing about that is they have a small ball center to play, but I'll get to that. But that's how I would match up initially. The Warriors are such a good defensive team as well, though, that we're going to see Draymond Green at times on Kawhi. We're going to see Klay Thompson at times on Kawhi. Kawhi's going to see plenty of Warriors throughout this series. It won't just be it. But for the initial matchup, that's how I started from the Warriors' perspective.
Yeah, I'll probably see some Sean Livingston in there. He'll see a lot of everybody.
He's gonna see everybody on the roster that's playing and then he gonna see him.
But I mean, I think it's interesting that you want to keep Steph on Lowry. That's interesting to me. I think he's a bruiser type of player, so I'm not sure if I like that for Steph. But I mean, I get what you're saying as far as Lowry. He's not the type of point guard that's gonna ISO up Steph and just go at him 4 straight possessions, trying to get him in foul trouble and things like that. So it could work out. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how they play it the first game or so. So I think that's interesting though. But getting to the Raptors side of the ball, the Nick Nurse. If I'm the coach for the Raptors, I'm gonna start off the way I'm gonna start off because all this can change. Steph started going off. I'm putting Kawhi on Steph, but the way I'm going to start it off is Danny Green. He's going to have a matchup with Steph Curry. He hasn't been shooting great, but he's a hell of a defender. So if he can go out there and just slow him down, contain him a little bit, I think he can do that as a vet. Somebody that's been in the finals, has plenty of playoff experience. I think he can do that for the Raptors. I'm going to put Kyle Lowry on Klay Thompson. As long as he can force Klay to dribble the ball, the percentage of that play just go down immediately. As long as you don't let him get a whole bunch of catch and shoot opportunities, as long as he's getting around those screens, communicating, I think that'd be great for them. I think he can guard Klay for the most part. Kawhi Leonard, I want you to be the free safety back there. I want you to be on Iguodala. Don't let him shoot open threes the way the Rockets do, which is so stupid to me, how you just allow people to shoot open threes. I understand I understand he may not be the best shooter, but he is an NBA player that can hit threes. So having Kawhi out there, he'll be able to. He's a smart enough defender and has enough length and recovery to where he can guard Iguodala and also help where need be. So coming off that pick and roll, which I'm gonna have Draymond and I'm gonna have Siakam on Draymond. So coming off that like a Steph pick and roll, I want Kawhi back there. So if it's a 4-on-3, I want Kawhi right in between that. I want Draymond to make that decision between the claw because a couple of those are gonna come out and turnovers. A couple of them, hey, Draymond's gonna get the best of you. But I think that's your best bet if you're the Raptors to have Kawhi on Iggy and Siakam or Draymond on Siakam. And then obviously what's left, I'm gonna just have whoever the center is guard Gasol. So probably Looney or Gasol on Looney. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's the way I wrap it up though. But I think that Kawhi on Iggy is going to be key, whether or not he can play free safety off of Iguodala. Iguodala he's always vital to the Warriors, man. He's definitely underappreciated as well.
I agree with that. The way I see it, here's my lineup for how I see the Raptors matching up with the Warriors. So I'm gonna keep Lowry on Steph because it's like we said, it's not gonna stay like that. Multiple people will be on Steph Curry. Between him and Danny Green, those are the primary guys I want to see on Steph Curry, chasing them through screens. Both these guys have made all defensive teams before, so I trust them to, be smart, work with the screens, and get through that. But I'm starting with Lowry on Steph. I'm putting Kawhi Leonard on Klay Thompson. I want him to shut that down. There's no KD. Shut down Klay Thompson. Let everybody else do the track work, getting around to Steph Curry. Let's make sure we don't get Klay Thompson going. I'm going to put so initially I'll have Danny Green on Iggy. Kind of the same thing that you said, kind of playing free safety, but I think he can hold down Iggy. He knows what he likes to do. He likes to shoot. And again, it's going to switch throughout the game, but initially that's how it started. Of course, Siakam, it's time to pull up your big boy pants. You got to guard Draymond Green in the finals, and he's looking really good right now. So that's actually the matchup I'm a little worried about because a lot of people would say Siakam should average a lot of points, but hey, look, Draymond Green is locking up right now. He's on a mission, especially with KD out. He wants to prove a point. So that's the matchup I'm really worried about. But I'm going to keep Siakam on Draymond. And, of course, Gasol's going to be on whatever center they play. If they go small, then I'll start Ibaka and go from there like that. But, yeah, that's the matchups and how I see them playing out. I think the Raptors, same thing with the Warriors. They're another team that is just a high IQ team on defense. They play great team defense, spearheaded by Kawhi Leonard, who is the best perimeter defender in the league.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, I mean, I like the matchups. I think both teams match up well with each other. It's just going to be some slight adjustments depending on who has it going that game. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the starting lineups play each other. But let's go ahead and head over to the bench, man. Who you got for the bench? Who do you think has the better supporting cast?
So, I think the Raptors have the better supporting cast because, one, the Warriors bench is not what it used to be. We all know that. And you're missing KD. And you're missing Boogie, so Iggy's not coming off your bench no more. He's a starter, so now you're relying on guys like Alfonso McKinney, Jordan Bell, Andrew Bogut. These guys are going to be playing some key minutes for you. Wow. So when I look at it, I have to side with the Raptors. I like Van Fleet over Quinn Cook. I like Norman Powell over Alfonso McKinney. These guys have shown they can play on the big stage. Now, they've never been to this stage. This is the biggest stage of all. But I just feel like there's so many veterans on this team. You also have Serge Ibaka coming off the bench, who's been to a finals before, who's led this league in blocks a couple times. So you've got veterans there. And even let's say they do go small and they switch. Now you're bringing a former defensive player of the year, Marc Gasol, off the bench to help that bench out. So I think that's one of the advantages the Raptors have in the series is that I believe their bench is going to be a lot more productive than the Warriors bench. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%, but I will say I'm under the impression that Boogie Cousins will come back probably, if not game 1, game 2 probably. I think he'll definitely be there. He's going to make he's going to do whatever it takes to get on the court. KD, not so much. I think he's definitely probably out for this series. But for their bench, I'm going to assume that Boogie's coming off the bench, but I'm still going to give the nod to the Raptors. having Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell played excellent. If he continues to play the way he was playing last series, the Warriors are in some trouble because he was out there dropping about 15 a game after Danny Green was shaky. So if he continues to play great and Fred VanVleet after, like you said, the birth of his child, shout out to him. If he continues to play great, it's going to be a long series for the Warriors. You also got Ibaka and things like that. So they go pretty deep. They go at least 8 or 9 players deep. So it's definitely going to be.
They could go farther.
Right. They don't even play Jeremy Lin or Jody Meeks and things like that. So if they have to, they can, go even further in their bench. I think OG Anunoby is going to make an appearance in this series. He's been out. Mm-hmm. So if he can give them 5 good minutes any game in this series, that's going to be huge. That can be a game shifting. Like if he just gives them 5 good minutes, play good defense, hit 2 threes, come in, score 5 points. Like just if he can do something like that, he can play a huge role in any game in this series. So with the Warriors, they're not as deep as they used to. That strength in numbers is not their motto anymore. If we're being honest, they still
up top.
Yeah, I say they bought all into the super team. So it's not strength in numbers anymore. It's really dependent upon their star players playing great. So I don't think their bench is going to play much of a part. And I don't want Andrew Bogut playing a lot of minutes this series. Jordan Bell maybe come play okay, but I don't think he's going to hold his own against the big men he's going to be playing against in this series because going out there against Gasol or Ibaka or Siakam or anybody like that, I don't like any of those matchups for him. And he's still a pretty young player, so I don't really trust him out there. So I'm definitely giving a nod to the Raptors. That I think that's the difference in the series to me. That's kind of where I'm at. The supporting cast, maybe coaching. Who do you think has a head in coaching? Like Steve Kerr and Nick Nurse. Which coaching staff do you trust?
Well, you definitely have to pick Steve Kerr in this situation. Like we said, Nick Nurse, first-year head coach right now, first time going to the finals. This team is still kind of new to each other. They haven't played that many games, so you have to go with the consistency of Steve Kerr. Right. 5 years he's been here. He knows what to call. He knows how to get his players up for these games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, easily you would have to side with Steve Kerr's coaching staff. Mike Brown on this coaching staff, they're ready for this. Yeah,
they're a great coaching staff for sure. But I think Nick Nurse, he surprised me, man. Every time I think he's like not capable of coaching this team, he does like exactly what the team needs. He sticks with Fred VanVleet despite the struggles. He sticks with Danny Green despite his struggles. And I mean, they come in, they do their job, and they maybe have in a shooting slump, but they still play good enough to where the team can win. They still do their role, whether it's playing defense, just hustling, bringing energy to the team. I think he's definitely, he deserves what he got. Even though I think Dwayne Casey got the short end of the stick, but they did the right thing in bringing Nick Nurse and making him the head coach this year. So he's definitely surprised me. I'll definitely say that. But like you said, I'm gonna definitely go with Steve Kerr in this series. He's the proven one that there's no really argument for me in that part. So let's go ahead and get over to our X factor of the series. Who you got, man? Who you think is going to be the player that can, tilt a game or two, or maybe just tilt the whole entire series and give it to the Warriors or give it to the Raptors? Which one do you think?
So my X factor is for the Raptors. It's going to be Pascal Siakam. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't say worried, but I'm unsure of which Pascal Siakam I'm going to get. And if you're going to beat the Warriors, you need the Pascal Siakam that's averaging probably about 20 points, 8 or 9 rebounds, 5 assists, playing great perimeter defense, knocking down his threes, shooting at least 37 to 38% from three. You're going to need that from Pascal Siakam. And it's on a big stage, and he's probably looking at getting guarded by Draymond Green. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities. I think the Warriors are going to take the approach of trying to make other people score, getting the ball out of Kawhi's hands, blitzing him, rushing him, making him make a quick decision. And I think that's going to leave Pascal Siakam. That's going to give him a lot of opportunities that I'm going to have to see him convert, because there was times in these playoffs where he wasn't even shooting. He was just getting the ball and kind of, looking around and looking for Kawhi. And, he's young, and it's going to take a while for him to, get to that certain level. He might win most improved player this year. He's still very young and very raw, but I feel like he's a big X factor. If he comes to play, I feel like the Raptors are going to have a great chance because they got somebody else that they can go to and say, hey, go get us a bucket. But if he does that little timid shit he was doing, where he just get the rock and just be like looking around and looking for Kawhi to save him, then that's going to really hurt the Raptors. And they're going to have to look for offense else places. So, yes, they can score at other positions, but I think Pascal Siakam needs to be very aggressive and playing and clicking on all cylinders for the Raptors to win.
Siakam's definitely going to play a key role. I definitely agree with that. But my X factor, I'm going to go with Kyle Lowry. I think he has to do what he did in that Eastern Conference Finals. Like, even when Kawhi is not, playing his best, he's only giving you 10 points in the first half. I need you to match his 10 points at least. I need you to be out there doing all the little things, creating for other players, getting on the ground, getting all the loose balls. I need him to definitely play defense this series. He has to play defense. He has to be probably the best communicator out there. He's going to be the main one running through those either Steph screens or Klay Thompson threes. Communication is the biggest thing when you're playing the Warriors because they run so many screens. It's easy to get lost. You may get lost in the pit. You got to tell your big man to get out there. So if they don't know, they can't help you. And that's where you see Klay Thompson rattle off 2 straight threes. Steph hit 2 or 3 straight threes, and they blow the game up open or they come right back into the game on you. So I think Kyle Lowry is their biggest need. He has to at least give me somewhere north of 15 points and 8 assists in this series. He has to have an impact for sure if they're going to win this series. So I'm gonna go with Kyle Lowry. He can't be out there playing like the Kyle Lowry we all think like he did in the Magic series when he only scored 0 points. So he definitely has to have an impact if the Raptors are gonna win this series.
Yeah, I agree. Lowry has to play big. The Lowry we saw last series, that's who we're gonna need to see and probably a little bit more. He played really good last series. He hasn't been that bad in the playoffs this year. But once you get a label, it's hard to shake it. So we're quick to look down on him. But he actually hasn't played that bad. But I agree with you. His defense is going to be so key because he's going to be the one up front, probably seeing Steph Curry most of the time. So if Kawhi is most likely locking down someone else, it's going to be your responsibility to make sure you're following Steph through all these screens, communicating with your centers, making sure your entire team stays involved throughout the game. Because, like I was saying, you're going to need more than just Kawhi this series. He's not going to be able to will you guys to this victory by himself. So I agree with that.
Yeah, the Warriors aren't letting one player beat them. That's the one thing with the Warriors. They're definitely not letting one player just completely take over a whole series. Maybe a game. But he ain't going to win you 4 by himself. So they're definitely going to make somebody else show up. But hey, it's time, man. It's prediction time, man. So who you got winning? How many games? Tell me, man. Who you got?
Well, I predicted the Raptors would make the finals and they'd be going against the Warriors. And here they are. It's game time. The Warriors are great, man. Even without KD, they are still great. They haven't lost a game since KD went out. But I'm here to tell y'all today that I'm picking the Raptors in 7 games. 7 games. I'm taking the Raptors. I think this is the year the Golden State Warriors fall. The Raptors have home court advantage, which I think is huge. The Warriors don't have all their guns, which I think is huge. The Raptors have a better bench, which I think is huge. The Raptors are a great defensive team, and I think they'll have enough horses to take down the juggernaut, the Golden State Warriors. I'm taking the Raptors in 7.
Oh, man. Raptors in 7. I got the Raptors in 7 as well, man. I think
join the mob.
Hey, either we're going to look real stupid or we're going to look real smart, man. It's going to go one or the other way. But I think the Raptors are the team right now. I think, like you said, they're a great defensive team. They're one of the best defensive teams, I think, in the last few years that we've seen that actually have an offense to go with it. So having the best player in this series, I think, is very huge. I'm going to definitely take Kawhi over anybody else in this series, even with a healthy KD. But if he comes back and he's hobbled, still give me Kawhi. So I think the Raptors having home court advantage is gonna have a different feel for the Warriors. They're gonna have to start out on the road. I know they're confident. I know they think they can win on the road, but 4 games playing in the Raptors Stadium, it's gonna be different. And the Oracle, hey, it's gonna be rocking. It's their last 3 games in Oracle. If it goes 7, they're gonna be rocking. But I think 7 games, having the Raptors in their home floor, game 7, Drake's gonna be pumped. You're gonna have all the OVO in there. They're gonna probably perform before the game, have a pregame show for all the fans. They're gonna be rocking for game 7. I think the Raptors gonna pull it off, man. I think in 7 games, give me the Raptors. Give me Kawhi. Give me Kyle Lowry. Give me Siakam. Gasol. Ibaka finally gonna get his ring. They gonna finally do it. I think they'll do it, man. I think the Raptors got it this year.
Hey, man, I agree with you. So, with that being said, since we both have the Raptors winning the finals, who do you think is going to be the finals MVP? Who's your pick for it?
I got to go with Kawhi-Kobe-Jordan. Come on. I got to go with the best player on the court. I see him averaging somewhere around 34 points per game, 7 rebounds. 34, hey.
Okay.
He's going to have to do that. And he knows he's going to have to do that. So, I don't think anybody's really gonna stop him. Like, that's the thing. Iguodala, I do think he's been one of the best defenders in the league the last few years. He doesn't get enough credit for the defender he is because he only plays so few minutes nowadays. But when he's on the court, you definitely feel his presence. But I think Kawhi is on another level right now. He's playing the closest that I've seen. Some people say to Jordan, but I say to Kobe. That's what he reminds me of more so than Jordan. Jordan had something a little different about him than both of them, but I think Kobe, he reminds me a lot about Kobe, where he's going to get his points. There's nothing you can really do to stop that. And Kawhi is in that zone, man. So I'm definitely going with him as the finals MVP. Like I said, 34 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. You're going to see a complete game from Kawhi. Give me 2 steals and a block as well. So he's going to have a complete game. You're going to feel it on both sides of the floor.
Well, I agree with you, of course. I'm going to go with Kawhi Leonard, finals MVP. I think it'll be somewhere around 30 points a game, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. I think he's going to average about 7 assists. I think he's going to keep a lot of guys involved. He saw how well that worked for him last series. And, you know, he doesn't want to expend all his energy because he has to play defense on these guys too. So I think he'll be somewhere around 37 and 7, probably average 2 steals or something insane like that, and no fouls. You know how he gets down on the defense.
Oh yeah, he don't.
So foul. Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I think Kawhi Leonard is going to win the Finals MVP, and man, when and if this happens, now we're gonna start discussing is he the best player in the league. Mm-hmm. If you take the Warriors down. With Kyle Lowry on your, did you ever think we'd be here like Kyle Lowry is close to an NBA championship right now?
Kyle Lowry's gonna go to the Hall of Fame if this happens, man. Oh, he's gonna go to the Hall of Fame, bro. He's gonna. I promise you. If they win this series, Kyle Lowry's going to the Hall of Fame. He's a 5-time All-Star. Like,
yeah, 5-time All-Star. You take down the Dynasty Warriors, man, that's crazy. Kawhi,
he's gonna be a Toronto legend. Like, it's gonna be wild in the 6, man.
He's already that. But we both got Toronto winning in 7. Yeah. I'm sure we both wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors won though somehow.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because like you said, they haven't lost the game since KD has been out, so they're still definitely a great team. They still have three All-Stars, right? Or if Boogie comes back, so they're equipped to win this series. But I think in 7 games, give me the Raptors. In 7 games, and they have home court, give me the Raptors this year because they're that more healthy team. I think the Warriors need KD. This is another series where you need KD. Like people have been saying, you got KD as insurance against a LeBron type team. This is a LeBron type team right here. You have Kawhi Leonard, and the Raptors are definitely a complete team. Even if you take Kawhi off the team, I think they're still making the playoffs. So Kawhi just kind of puts them over the edge, and that's why you need KD in a series like that. So I don't think KD's going to play this whole series. The way he was limping going onto that plane, I just don't think it's going to happen. Granted, I'm not a doctor. Nobody really knows exactly what happened to that calf, but I think it's a little bit more than what the Warriors are leading on. So I definitely think the Raptors are going to pull it off this year.
Yeah, I hope I see that. Game 1 is tonight at what time? 8:30?
Yeah, 8:30, man.
Game 1 is tonight at 8:30. I know I'm going to be ready to watch that.
So I want to get into our fan portion of the segment of the day. I had put out a poll a question out on Twitter and asked to see what some people wanted us to talk about. So with both of us picking Toronto to win this series, we have a question that says, what are the things Toronto has to do in order to beat Golden State? What do you think are the key, like 3 key points that they have to do in order to win this series?
Well, for me, 1, limit turnovers.
Yeah.
2,
that's for sure.
Be physical.
Mm-hmm.
3, be ready. Like, this goes back to the whole Siakam and be ready to play. This is it. This is everything you've been training for most of these guys for your whole life. Is this moment right here in the NBA Finals. Be physical. That's the way that you beat the Warriors. You get physical with them. You muck the game up. You make them play at your tempo, not theirs, and you abuse them on the offensive end. You go at them. That's how you beat this team. So I said, be physical, be ready. And what did I say? What was the first one?
You said limit turnovers.
Oh, yeah. Limit the turnovers. The Warriors thrive on that. You do not want to get this team in the fast break. Because once Steph and Klay start pulling up for threes, they stop layups, it's a wrap. Just know, once they stop going for layups on fast breaks and they just start pulling up, it's a wrap. You cannot turn the ball over against this team and expect to win. So those would be my 3 things.
So my key points, I'm definitely agree with you. Limit turnovers. That's something you cannot do against this team. You don't want Steph and Klay running out in transition. Steph's one of the best transition finishers, I think, of all time to me. So he may not have that physical, strength that we're accustomed to seeing, but you get him out in transition, he's going to score. So limiting turnovers is definitely huge to me. I'm going to definitely say you have to limit them on the boards. You have to win the rebounding war. If you're Toronto, you have to do that. You got to keep the Warriors off the offensive glass. That's something that they've done great throughout this postseason. They've been getting a lot of offensive rebounds. You can't have them doing that. It's hard to guard threes off of an offensive rebound. It's like the best way to get a 3 in basketball, something like that. Some type of, analytic, but it's hard to guard the 3 off of the offensive rebound. So they have to win the rebounding war. That's like a Gasol, Ibaka. They have to stay out on the floor. They have to be able to guard the guards so they can help out. Kawhi has to help out on the rebounds. Everybody, it's going to have to be a total team effort in rebounding the basketball. And then thirdly, you just got to keep your composure, man, because the Warriors are going to go on runs. The Warriors are going to go on runs. The way that they did against Portland, down 17 in those 3 straight games, they went on their run. The Blazers weren't able to keep their composure. They weren't able to close it out. I think the Raptors are ready to do that. I think Kawhi is the perfect leader for a team like that. He doesn't get too high, whether or not they're up by 20. He doesn't get too low if they're down by 20. So he's going to keep that team level-headed. He's going to keep them with one mission, win the game, and just take it one game at a time. Don't worry about, Steph is going off. He's scoring 15 in this quarter. Like you can weather the storm. You just got to score while they're doing that. You got to, keep your composure as it goes along. So those are my 3 key points. Limited turnovers, win the rebounding war, and keep your composure throughout this whole entire series. So those will be the biggest things I think the Raptors need to go on to. But heading to our next question, our last question of the day, which is going to wrap up this podcast for the day. We have a question that says, how does a possible KD return factor into the series for the Raptors? So if KD comes back, how do you think the Raptors are going to fare? Do you think they'll lose the series? Do you think it changes everything, or same result?
Well, the series doesn't get any easier. Let me say that before I give you my answer. The series does not get any easier adding KD to the Warriors, but this does change the defensive matchups. So now we know who we're putting on KD, right? We don't need to say Kawhi. You go where he go, no matter what. When he gets to the stadium, you're there with the little sign saying, KD, I'm here for you. That's it. You follow him everywhere he go. But we know that the Warriors offense is a little bit more stagnant when they have KD. It's a little bit less running around. So I don't want to say it gets easier, but it's just a different look, and I think the Raptors might prefer that look. Even though, granted, it's KD, it's a little bit slower of a game, which is exactly what the Raptors want to do. So I'm still gonna stick with the Raptors in 7. Ultimately, even if KD comes back, because he's been gone for a while, is he gonna be completely healthy? Is he 100%? These are just answers we don't know right now. But it doesn't make it any easier. It's just another Infinity Stone, like we always say. The gauntlet is just something else harder to stop. But hey, it might benefit the Raptors in smaller ways. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, I think with the KD, the way he plays, he can adjust to anything. So I think if he was to come back, he would not play the same way. He would not have that same isolation type of style. He can play off ball. I don't think he has an issue doing that. It's just, he's such a great player. When he is healthy, I will ISO him up, and Clay and Steph, y'all run around on the weak side, and we'll just go on the strong side, and we'll just go from there. So I understand that aspect, but I think if he does come back, he'll probably play off ball and adding another body that's great for the Warriors. We've already mentioned they don't have a lot of depth. Moving Iggy to the bench is great for them. But if he was to come back, he's not going to be the same player. He's not going to be 100% for sure. He's definitely not going to be 100%. And like I've been saying, he has not been working out. Like, he probably hasn't done anything really basketball related. He might have got up a few shots, but he probably hasn't done a lot of basketball work in these last 3 weeks. He's been hurt now, so it's been a long time. Granted, the finals do get stretched out the longer they go because you have so many days in between games. But I don't think he's going to be able to come back nearly the player we're used to seeing him be. Granted, he'll still go out there and drop probably 20, but how's he going to get that 20? I assume he will be efficient, but I don't think he's going to get it the way that we're accustomed to seeing it happen. It's not going to benefit the Warriors enough to put them over the top in this series. Like I said, you have Kawhi-Kobe-Jordan, man. Him being out there, I think he's going to find a way to win no matter what, honestly. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm all on the man's, but hey, I think he's going to find a way to win it out, man. I think it's not going to change the series if KD is coming back.
Yeah, it's definitely I honestly don't feel like he's coming back. I feel like he's done
he's done. He's done, man.
But hey, you never know with these players. Hey, he might miraculously be like, yo, I'm good, let's go, let's roll. He might be in there. So it'll definitely be something to see. Thank you to those fans for those questions. As always, guys can always send us in questions or comments or whatever, and we'll definitely answer them right here on air. But that's all we have for this episode of Here's the Deal, this NBA Finals preview. Thank you guys for tuning in on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Thank you so much. David, anything to say to the people?
It's your boy David. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Here's the Deal podcast. Tune in for next week's episode. And don't forget to add the Here's the Deal podcast Facebook and Twitter pages.